Chess has a certain kind of player that everyone knows, the Petrov player. They sit down across the board, they mirror your first move, they mirror your second move, and the message they are sending is crystal clear. I am not here to lose, I am here to draw. Today, White has a very different message. White opens with the pawn to e4. Black answers immediately with the pawn to e5, perfectly symmetrical. Then the knight develops to f3, and Black mirrors again with the knight to f6. The Petrov Defense, the Russian game, one of the oldest and most solid systems in all of chess theory. Black is saying, take my center pawn if you want, but you will never get an advantage. White accepts the challenge. The knight captures on e5, attacking the e-pawn. Black responds with pawn to d6, kicking the knight away. And this is the moment. This is where every normal chess player retreats the knight to f3 or d3, and the game slowly becomes equal and quiet and forgettable. But White does not retreat. The knight flies to f7, a full piece sacrifice. On move 4, before most players have even touched their second piece, the Black king is forced to capture. There is no way to decline without simply losing material for nothing. The king steps to f7, dragged out of safety, standing exposed in the very center of the battlefield. This is the Cochrane Gambit, and from this moment forward, Black is no longer playing for a draw. Black is playing for survival. White does not hesitate for a single second. The pawn hammers to d4, seizing the entire center. White is now saying, I gave you a knight, and in return I want space, time, and your king's life. Black tries to fight back immediately. The pawn strikes to c5, challenging the d4 pawn directly. This is actually Black's most principled response. Counter in the center, don't just run. White develops the knight to c3, keeping the pressure alive. Black captures on d4, and White's queen recaptures on d4, landing in the center with incredible power. The Black knight develops to c6, attacking the queen, but the queen doesn't run. White plays bishop to c4 with check. The Black king, which just one moment ago was on f7 trying to escape, now has to shuffle backward to e8. It has gone from f7 to e8, moving in the wrong direction, moving away from safety instead of toward it. Every move Black spends repositioning the king is a move White uses to build an unstoppable machine. The White queen steps to e3, keeping coordination between all the pieces. Black tries to get clever. The knight jumps to g4, attacking the queen. The queen retreats to e2, and now Black's queen swings aggressively to h4, threatening to create real counterplay. For just a moment, it looks like Black might be turning the tables. White is completely calm. The bishop develops to f4, coolly ignoring the queen's threats and focusing on pure development. Black's knight repositions to e5. White pushes the bishop to g3, chasing the queen. The Black queen slides to g4. White plays pawn to f3, and the queen retreats again to g6. Look at what has happened in these last few moves. Black's queen has been moving constantly, h4, g4, g6, 3 consecutive queen moves just to stay out of trouble. Meanwhile, White has been developing pieces, controlling the center, and building a fortress. In chess, when your queen is the only piece doing any work, that is a warning sign, a very serious warning sign. And now comes the move that changes everything. The White knight crashes to d5. Just take a moment to appreciate this knight. It sits on d5 like a king on a throne. It attacks multiple squares simultaneously. It cannot easily be removed. And Black's king, still wandering in the center, is now in serious danger of being completely surrounded. The Black king tries to hide on d8. White castles queenside, a thunderous move. The White king is now safe on the queen side, while the Black king sits just 2 squares away, completely vulnerable. White's rooks connect instantly and aim directly at the open files. Black develops the bishop to d7, trying desperately to organize some defense. White's bishop retreats to b3, keeping the diagonal open and staying flexible. The Black king scurries to c8. White moves the king to b1, a quiet but important move, stepping away from any backrank tricks. Black tries something interesting. The h-pawn advances to h5. Looking for counterplay on the king side, White responds with pawn to f4, grabbing even more space. Black plays the bishop to g4, pinning White's queen against the king. On the surface, this looks dangerous. Black is pinning the queen. Black has a knight on g4 coming, but White sees through it entirely. The queen steps to e3, breaking the pin calmly. Black decides to grab material. The bishop captures the rook on d1. White recaptures with the rook. Black's knight leaps to g4, attacking the queen again. The queen moves to c3. And now Black makes one final attempt to stay in the game. The queen captures the e-pawn on e4, grabbing a free pawn, threatening things, looking for complications. But White has been waiting for exactly this moment. Rook to e1, the pin is absolute. The queen on e4 is pinned against the Black king. Black cannot move the queen without walking into disaster. The Black queen retreats to f5, the only square available. Rook to e8, check. The rook invades the back rank. The Black king is forced to flee to d7. White's rook captures the Black rook on a8, material regained, advantage secured. The Black queen fights back to e4. One last desperate attempt to create chaos. White plays pawn to a3, calm and precise, stopping any queen tricks. Black pushes the h-pawn to h4. The white bishop returns to e1, blocking the queen's path. Black's queen pushes to e2, trying to infiltrate. The white king steps to a2, getting out of any potential checks. Black's knight tries to regroup to f6, but white strikes immediately. The white knight captures on f6 with check. The g-pawn is forced to recapture. And now, the white queen glides to f6. It is over. The black king has nowhere to go. The queen controls every escape route. The rooks are disconnected. The knight on g4 is doing nothing. The position is completely, totally, and utterly lost. Black resigns. Think about what just happened in this game. White sacrificed a knight on move 4, not because the engine said it was winning by 3 pawns, not because there was a forced checkmate, but because White understood something deeper than calculation. White understood that the Petrov player is not prepared to fight. They are prepared to draw. They have memorized long theoretical lines that lead to quiet equality. They are comfortable. They are confident. The Cochrane Gambit destroys that comfort instantly. It says, forget your theory, forget your preparation, forget your plans. Your king is in the middle of the board, and we are going to fight right now. And when you force a drawing specialist into a survival game, the psychological pressure alone wins half the battle before a single piece is captured. The Petrov player came here for draw. They got a masterclass in destruction instead. White wins.